Good morning, traders. Today is Tuesday, August 2nd. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. All right, well, let's talk about what's happening in the markets. So we've had some excess over the last few days. We've had a big move to the upside, a big trend higher. And I am of the opinion that that trend is coming to an end, that we are running out of momentum, and that the market is likely to need to balance off the excess. We say excess leads to balance. So there's two ways it can balance off the excess. It can either rotate around at higher prices using time to balance off that excess, or it can pull back using price to balance that excess. Okay, two different ways to balance off the excess. Either one is possible. And when the market is done with the momentum to the upside, that is our focus. Is it going sideways or is it going down? Now, why do I think the market is almost done with its momentum to the upside? Well, we still have the trend. Yesterday is a sign that the trend is still going, that the momentum is still in the market, in the fact that we had value overlapping to higher once again, and we made higher highs and higher lows. However, a lot of weakness on the highs. Okay, so just completely running out of buyers up here, just weak hand sellers having no problem punching the market down. That is a sign of momentum coming to an end. And then also the way the overnight is now, value is completely lower in overnight. That is a sign that the balance may have just begun with the fact that value is lower in the overnight. And that will be confirmed if today we have overlapping to lower value or completely lower value. That will be a confirmation the trend is over. The momentum is over. So as far as a day where the market starts to balance off using time sideways, essentially what we would be looking for is, does the market push below yesterday's low? If it does, comes back up, finds resistance, we'll look to target the overnight lows down at 43 or 40.83. Okay, so that would be the target to the downside if we get below yesterday's low and then find resistance. And then if we get below that overnight low, same thing. Look for resistance and monitor for continuation lower. We have a couple of weak references down there we could use as targets at 40.80 and 40.68.50. It is also worth noting we have a previous balance area low. Balance areas aren't generally exactly the same one after another, but it is not uncommon for them to build balance areas in the general same area. So I could see the market pushing down here, and then if it pulls back up, looking to target yesterday's high as a new balance area is beginning to form. But one step at a time. Let's see if we get below yesterday's low, find resistance, and then head down there to 40.80. The other alternative is we could push up into the resistance above us right here in this major node of volume. That was the major node of volume during yesterday's trade. It's also the cumulative major node of volume. So a lot of resistance in there, as you can see in the overnight. So in the beginning, when the market opens, I'll be looking for chop basically between this node right here and this node up here from the overnight. So essentially between like 41.24 and 40.94. Be looking for the market to just kind of grind and chop up and down between that area. Like I said, if we get below yesterday's low and find resistance, if we can't chop back up, that is bearish. The same thing is true of the overnight high. If we push above the overnight high, come back down and find support, that would be bullish to me to start monitoring for continuation to the upside to repair each of these weak references one after another. Okay, so when the market opens, we're looking for that sweet, sweet chop. And depending on which of these nodes from the overnight we break, we're looking for continuation in that particular direction. I wouldn't get overly bearish, if we come down here to these weak references. I wouldn't become overly bearish if in case we just dip below, repair them, and then head right back up. But if we get below 40.68 and we continue to get more selling, well, then we get very bearish, because that implies we might need a repair with price instead of time. So time, absorbing the excess could look like this, but price absorbing it could look like this, right? So if we don't find some support once we repair 68, we get bearish for that continuation down to 4,000. Okay? So let's see what the market has for us. Charles, is it possible we just keep trending higher? Is it possible we still have more momentum? Absolutely. But I wouldn't count on it unless we get above yesterday's high and then get support up there. So if we can get above the overnight high, I would see that as bullish enough to head up and test that. But I wouldn't get bullish beyond that until we got above there and it was proven. As my spidey senses tell me, we're about to build a balancing area. That's the sense. It's the first thing that popped in my head the moment I looked at the daily this morning. I was like, balance area much? What a coincidental place to do it. So that is probably my number one guess, is balance for the market to move sideways, or a larger pullback with price. I would say continuation of the trend to the upside is the least likely in my mind today, but certainly not impossible. Market opens in 1 minute. Looking for that chop. All right, the market is open. Let the chop begin. Commence the chopping. If you have not yet, please smash that thumbs up button. I sure would appreciate it. It would mean a lot to the pirate. Make me feel like I got some of me hearties out there in the crowd hanging with me. Chopping it up, chop zone. Yeah. Good morning to Chillin' with Dylan, the Shaw, Element, Philip, Cyrus, R.K. Leon, Ed, Scooball, Miss Your Knife, Jules, Jeremy, Fighter Pilot, ES Flema, T-Bay, Jack, David Glass in the house. Good to see you. Jeremy, news at 10 a.m. Like yesterday. Just like yesterday. Jobs? We don't care about no jobs. CCT, good morning to you. David, good morning from Italy. Caffeine, good morning to you. Arthur, good morning, everyone. Are we in a bear market again? Depends what your time frame is. Maybe on a very, very short time frame, a little balance. Although it could be argued we never left the bear market. This is just a rally. Scooball overnight a little net short. Yeah, they'll have a chance to get break even as the market goes up and down and up and down and up and down and gives them every opportunity to exit their trade. John Lash, good to see you. Stan, Mike, Dan, Jam, welcome, welcome. Bow, bow. David Keene. Nap. Coffee Addict. Nicholas and Scott, welcome, everyone. All right, so as we work our way towards yesterday's low, remember we're looking for support in this node just below the low at around 40.94. And then for the market to push back up into yesterday's range. If they start to get resistance here at yesterday's low, if they push below, come back up, and they can't get back up into yesterday's range, that would be bearish for continuation down to test the overnight low. But the assumption is that we will find support and the chop will continue. So let's wait and see. Element, lots of layoffs, betting it'll be bad. But is that bad for the economy? That's where the fun of trading comes in and speculating. Is it really bad if a bunch of people get laid off, or is that good? Because then they don't have money to spend. So then they can't buy stuff. So then the price of stuff goes down and we get rid of inflation. David Keene, market generated information? No, sir. Purely speculative. I speculate that if people lose their jobs, they will buy less stuff. All right, so we're getting some support. Do we now get resistance at yesterday's low, or do we just continue to chop? It would appear the chop is still here. All right, that's interesting. That resistance at halfback is a little bit bearish. Obviously, we're still in a chop zone, but they should be able to chop right through that and just keep grinding up and down pretty effortlessly here. So the fact that we're getting resistance at the halfback right now is new sellers piling on. So that's a little bit bearish. Let's see how this develops. There they go again. Resistance at the opening price. A little bit bearish. All right, it would appear we don't have the buyers. So if we dip back below yesterday's low, the target becomes testing the overnight low. Looking for support down there. So this isn't exactly resistance at yesterday's low, but it's the same concept as pushing below and coming back up and finding resistance. If they can't get back up through the opening price, it means they don't have the buyers right now. And if they don't have the buyers here, they got to pull the price back, looking for them at lower prices. So this is bearish to me for a test of the overnight low. And we'll see what happens there. I remain bearish as long as we're below the halfback, 41.0250. All right, I stand corrected. It's still chopping. Screwball, NQ wasn't bearish there. NQ seems to be shooting to the moon. Shooting to the moon. You are pushing up into resistance as we speak. So same thing with the ES. If they can get above the overnight high at 12,980 and find some support, you can start to look for continuation to the upside. But in between 12,980 and 12,830. You got yourself a chop zone. And you're just chopping away. Values overlapping to lower from yesterday. That is not what you see before you go to the moon. That's what you see before you get some balance. So obviously this time, out of an overabundance of caution, I will not get bearish until we get resistance at yesterday's low. I'll need to see us break through this support and then come back up and get resistance before I'll be looking to short to the overnight low. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Well, you don't get fooled twice. Chilling with Dylan. Maybe NQ was overnight short covering. Sure, some of it would have been. But chop just means indecision. Chop just means, half the participants think it's going to go up, half think it's going to go down, and they're just picking each other's pockets. But yeah, the overnight inventory was net short, but they completely went back to their opening price, so it's definitely absorbed now. This is new business taking place here. And half of them want it to go up and half of them want it to go down. Make up your minds, new business. Kayshawn says they're waiting for that news at 10. Then they'll decide. Well, we'll be here for it. Okay, so once again, to get me bearish here, I got to see this support break and then yesterday's low become resistance. Otherwise, I'm going to just assume we're going to keep chopping it up down here. Just slice them and dice them. All right, there's the support breaking. So now I'm looking for resistance. And then a trade down to the overnight low. All right, well, that's resistance. So I am bearish to test that overnight low. All right, so now we're looking for some resistance. Hmm. Man, it's vicious this morning. It's not respecting any resistance. Making it hard on us. Still feels bearish to me as resistance below the opening price, value being lower. So obviously, I'm still bearish to test the overnight low, but the way the market is behaving, this feels like they're grinding out a bottom. So obviously, we're nowhere near creating that bottom just yet, but it doesn't feel like we're going to have a massive sell-off today. So I am looking for support once we repair that weak reference at 81. Mark, I have a feeling you're going to say experience, but how can you tell there's an iceberg order at lows absorbing the selling? Well, I don't deal in iceberg orders. That's like a order flow thing. I just call that buyers, right? Is there buyers at the low? And we see that with taper. If less and less business is happening, the further the sellers push it, that means there's buyers waiting down there wanting to do business. $777, you said massive sell-off? No, I did not. Please point to where in the stream I used the term massive sell-off. I said I'm bearish to test the overnight low. That is not a massive sell-off. It's a mere 11 points from where we currently are. All right, I'm back to neutral. We're back up inside yesterday's range. Jesus Christ, they're not going to make it easy this morning. So if you're bearish, you want to see the ticks get slapped down, and you want to see the market trade back down and break that A period low. But it's starting to feel like they're hammering out a bottom here, so we may not get it. God damn. Sorry about all the flip-flopping today, but if we break the initial balance to the downside, I'm bearish once again. There you go. This chop is not easy to read, man. Once again, targeting that overnight low. Okay, so now we're looking for a repair of 40.81. That could bring in the buyers. This liquidation break could bring in the strong hands. Man, I absolutely hate when they do this. It's so frustrating. So we could be at a balance area low right now. The market could be building up steam to head right back up towards yesterday's high. But of course, they left a freaking weak reference behind. So now you don't know. Do I target the short to repair the weak reference? Or do I get long for the potential balance area? They are not making it easy. If we're going to get a bounce here, they should be able to keep the ticks above the zero line. So if the ticks get slapped down again, we're probably heading back to repair the weak low. All right, so at this point, I remain bearish as long as we're below the halfback, 40.95. If we push back above that, I am neutral unless we pass through the opening price, in which case I am bullish as a look below and fail, targeting yesterday's highs. So once again, just to put this into context for you, so you can see the levels on the chart. As long as we're below 40.95, I still think we need to head down and repair this weak reference. Do we need to go any further? Not at all. We could just dip one more time and then turn around and head up, okay? Clearly there are buyers waiting. Clearly there is support here. Every attempt this morning to push down, buyers, 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 buyers. The first liquidation break, it lasted 2 seconds, and the buyers were waiting. That is very, very bullish. That is what a balance area low looks like. Okay? So if we get above 40.95, I'm neutral. But if we get back through the opening price, I assume that this is a big balance area, and I target the opposite end of balance. So now I'm back to neutral. What a day! Cannot wait around to take profits today. Jesus. Screwball resistance? I disagree. Resistance wouldn't keep the ticks above the zero line. What we have is two-sided trade, and the buyers taking control of the market. I will get bullish if they can get it back above the opening price. MMMBBQ barbecue says, I don't like today's action. It feels like the big players are dumping large orders out there just enough to stop the little people. Not that it's to get our stops, but it's the end result. Yeah, I mean, that's what's happening. They're washing a lot of people out here. But I would disagree with you that it's large players dumping orders. I think it's the opposite. I think it's day traders selling and it's swing traders buying. My guess is this down here was all smart money. So what does that tell me? If we come down here to repair this weak reference, there'll be more waiting. They'll have those orders layered in once again. If this is an area where they want to do their accumulating, they will accumulate. take from that what you will. I don't know if you guys saw, there was another liquidation right there that just instantly got bought back up. Well, just in time for the end of the stream. The market's getting bullish. It's starting to build that momentum. So what to expect here today as we leave the stream in a few minutes? Well, obviously the highest probability is that we're going to rotate sideways in this range and just kind of have a quiet balancing day. The other alternative is if we do trade lower, we repair that weak reference and we get resistance, we can look for continuation to the downside. That seems like the least likely scenario to me. And then the other alternative is if we can break the initial balance to the upside. So if we print the C period here, and then that C period comes up and it breaks that A period high, that would be very bullish to me, as it would be the beginning of a trend to the upside. And as I mentioned, to me, as I've been talking about since before the market even opened, this to me feels like a balance area low. If that's the case, it doesn't mean we have to go there today, but it just means that the next target is heading back up towards yesterday's high. So if we get one time framing here and we have a target up here, I can get bullish looking to try to, I don't know if we'll get there, but just see if we can. And it looks like it's going to happen before we even leave the stream. So yeah, getting above the opening price is bullish. It's, again, I want to just note, it's not bullish like the market has to have a trending day higher all day. It's just bullish in terms of we don't need to have a big sell-off. So this could still mean sideways rotational day. But if they break that A period high, they can at least try to head higher. And we'll see what they get. With that, I bid you all farewell. I wish you the best. I'm off to hang out in the private stream. I know you probably didn't find this morning stream very helpful, but if you do, feel free to join us. It's only $10 a month. There's a link in the description. $10 is all it costs. MBBQ was going to pay. Is Google Pay the only way? No. You can use credit card. You can use PayPal as well. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And we will see you tomorrow morning. Have a good one.